right, we got about 2 minutes, so chat with our guy. We'll get everybody rolling this morning. Hope everybody's having a good morning already. Some of you aren't up. I don't blame you. If you're not up, I do not blame you. Okay, got you, Reed. We are rolling. Yep, coming down the stretch, everybody. High school football is rocking right along. Three more weeks of the regular season, and it's over. And then you're into the playoffs. It's hard to believe.
I'm a little surprised with that Opelika Enterprise score, though. You know, it's not that Enterprise beats them that surprised me. It's that they scored that many points.
Yeah,
that's a little bit of a shock.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen that Opelika defense. That's not an easy one to deal with at all.
Man, that region over there, it's every year, though. I mean,
it is. Like there's a surprise that pops up.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, 42-20.
Yeah, I mean, that's not close.
No.
And Opelika only had the one loss to Auburn going in, didn't they?
Right.
In the region.
Yeah, we got 5 seconds. Yeah.
Heck, I think that was the only loss they had on the season. Now that I think about it, until then.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. We are glad that you joined us here on this Saturday morning to get your weekend started. Man, a ton to talk about, to dive into. Obviously, high school football going to be dominating the first hour here on the program. We'd love to hear from you out there if you're tuning us in on social media, whether it be YouTube or Facebook. Comment away throughout the program. Obviously, if you're watching on Charter Channel 701, Channel 80, we welcome all of you in as well. Randy, good to see you on a Saturday. We've got a bunch to talk about. It's hard to believe that we're coming down the stretch of high school football. About 3 weeks left, depending on when your bye week was or whatever. I know some teams have their bye week here toward the end, so some teams may only have a couple of games left. The team that we cover, Benjamin Russell, had their bye week last night, so they've got 3 games left, and then it'll be the playoffs coming up. So we'll run down scores from throughout the state. You and I were just talking about some of those as we get going here this morning, really starting to position for where the seeds are going to be. I sent you a bracket that if things kind of stayed the way they were right now, what that would look like for Benjamin Russell. We might go through that bracket. Again, that was just one scenario, but we will tell you where everybody's matched up, and it'll at least give you an idea of what region you're going to be matched up with in the first round. So, again, a lot to talk about, and this is a fun time of year for us.
I love it. I love this time of year. The weather starts to change. It just has more of a football feel in the air. You get into October, you've got big SEC games that are on the horizon, much like we have at Jordan-Hare tonight against Georgia. We'll get into that plenty in the second hour of the show. But, you know, there's a lot of great teams here in the state in each of these classifications. You know, one classification that seems to be getting away from everybody else is that 1A class. I mean, good luck to the freight trains that are coming through that with Wadley and Maplesville. Right. If either of those two teams have a 5-touchdown game before the state championship, Brett, I'd be shocked. You know, I looked down and asked you to give me the score last night of Wadley and Lee Scott. I think Lee Scott was undefeated going into the ball game against Wadley. And Lee Scott's what, a 3A school, Brett?
Yeah, Lee Scott was undefeated going into that game and had dominated.
So here's how good Wadley is. And I'm not saying Lee Scott's a championship contender in 3A, but if they went
Pretty good.
if they went 2 or 3 rounds in the playoffs, nobody'd be surprised. Undefeated going in against 1A Wadley and lose 42-7 last night. I mean, that's and look, for everybody that thinks that that's just Jarquez Wilkes, you're crazy. That's just not how football works.
Right.
One player can't make that big of a difference because you're going to wear him totally out and you're going to scheme around him. But when you only give
Especially
up,
against teams that have more depth and that are bigger than you. Yes.
well, and my point is on the defensive side of the ball. If you hold a team like Lee Scott's been scoring a lot all season to 7, Jarquez, I can assure you, didn't make 35 tackles last night. I mean, there's others on that team that can get it done too, Brett. And you had Maplesville earlier in the year in that Champions Challenge, Kickoff Classic.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a close game. And
No.
I think they have the number 1 player in the state for is he a sophomore this year? I think he's a sophomore.
Yeah, he wouldn't be the number. I think. Is Kingston the number 1 player in the state?
So it's he and Kingston. So maybe Kingston's 1 and he's 2. Whatever it is, he's a freak show. Kind of like Jarquez.
Yeah.
At that age, I think he's 6'5", 220, 230.
Yeah.
Already. Is it Nehemiah McCray? Does that name sound right? Apologize to those of you from Maplesville. Some of these we hope to retain in this small memory bank of mine that I have left over, but I think that's him. And so my point is they can match athlete for athlete potentially, but he got away from them last year, Brett. So I know they'll have to be prepared. But what a team at Wadley. Hate to go down that for a good majority, but when you get teams like that in any classification that just feels like they're so much further ahead of everybody else, Brett, it's worthy of talking about.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to look up while you're there, while you're pulling that up, because I do want to verify. It is Nehemiah McCary. Excuse me. He is the number 2 player behind Kingston in the state. So he's number 1 in his position nationally at linebacker. Kingston is the number 20 national player, the number 3 quarterback in the country, and the number 1 player in the state. So, and then the third player, they only have 3 ranked right now in the state for 28, and Kylan Johnson is the other one, a cornerback from Coosa Christian. So those are your 3 on 24/7 that are ranked. Mark said Lee Scott 7 points last night was on a kickoff return.
Wow.
Definitely not all Wilkes, although he played really, really good. I'm sure he did. I saw something earlier today or this morning about Jarquez Wilkes. So I'll see if I can pull up some stats from him from last night. Obviously, he just got named to the Alabama Mississippi All-Star roster along with a couple of our guys here at Benjamin Russell, Sadari Morgan, BJ Bedgood. I don't think anybody's surprised by that. We'll go through that too, maybe a little bit later on. But I think that's the story when you look at it. He's a great player, but Wadley, this is eye-opening how well they're playing. And this is a new football coach, by the way. You got to remember, this is a guy that comes over and takes over for a really, really good coach that moved on to Beauregard to take the head job. And I believe this guy came from Eufaula. We had him in media days to start the year. Faith had an interview with him, and we pushed that out. I know we pushed all those interviews out, but if memory serves me correctly, he came from Eufaula. And boy, did he inherit a good football team. You talk about coming over from an assistant job, taking your first job. And I think that's right, because I remember him saying his wife's from Wadley. So it was a great opportunity to go back, for her to go back home. And man, he was just handed like, okay, here's this football team. Hey, go coach this team. And obviously he's doing a great job.
Well, we talk about this all the time, Brett. You know, you get these great assistants in the state. And so the question is, do you hang around where you are, that maybe you've been for a long time, and wait and take over when the head coach moves on? or do you have to at some point in time go, okay, I got to go out there and find a spot that I can build a resume up and then hopefully come back to the program that I'd like to coach one day? Really difficult decision to make, Brett. I try to put myself in those coaches' shoes and try to figure out what you would do, but the reason that I'm saying that is, my gosh, can you imagine the first group that you get, this freak show of a group from Wadley that had just won
Right.
a state championship going away and went undefeated, and then you get back to having them this year, and they return most of their skill guys.
Right.
Got all the lines of scrimmage play. I remember watching them a couple of years ago with you, and I said, Brett, Jarquez is great. My gosh, this is a great football team all the way around. I mean, look, watch
Yeah.
these linemen block. Watch these receivers out here, the way that they block for him. I could run through that and get 25 yards. I mean, that's how good that. But that, Brett, we grew up not far from there. That's
Right.
a great football community, isn't it?
Oh yeah, man. It's always been a very, very small community that takes a lot of pride in their high school. And again, that's not uncommon across any community in the state. But when you got these smaller communities, they hang their hat on that, and they should. I got some numbers on Jaquez before last night, so I don't have his stats of what he did last night, but his season totals going into last night, he had 59 carries for 787 yards, 15 touchdowns. And on the defensive side, had 37 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and 5 forced fumbles and 5 fumble recoveries. So, again, with some of these games being out of hand,
All of them.
he's not in the game on some of those like later in the game. He's not playing later in some of these games. So and rightfully so. And I mean you're able to get some other kids in and do some stuff. So but anyway, pretty impressive. 59 carries. That's a 13.3 yard per carry average. I'd say it's a big dude to try to tackle when he's running back there. I wouldn't want to try to tackle him. And I watched it, and you did too, in the state championship game last year, a very good Maplesville team. They pointed to where he was going to go, and he just ran through guys and drug people down the field. He's a load for sure.
He is. I was going to say that to you, and I made a post out last night late with the Alabama Mississippi All Star roster, and he was one of the pictures, and they had him listed as a running back / linebacker, and that's the great question for him. I think everybody thinks they're a great scout, and you go watch this kid and you say, well, I just don't know if 1A can transition into being a good back in the SEC level. And look, maybe I'm wrong, but when I watch him run the football, he's got natural instincts, Brett.
Yeah.
Very good at keeping defenders off of him, and makes it look easy. And yes, I know it's 1A, but something tells me with the size that he has and the moment that he gets in a weight room, there's no telling where he may end up. And great kid too. I mean, you've had the pleasure of meeting him and being around him quite a bit. So he's one that I think we'll want to cheer for, and
He's
excited to get him. Just got to find a way to get a few more around him. So I'll leave it at that right now until you kick me into these college ranks on this last hour of the show today.
Yeah, Mark said Wadley also has a cornerback who needs 3 interceptions to set the state career record for interceptions. So, they got players all around. And Glenn said, don't forget the running back getting hurt in the championship game, or this class would be going for number 3. They could be in their 3rd straight state championship game. So, Tubbs Tiger said, Prattville fans must have heard y'all last week. What a win for them last night. Yeah. Huge win over Hewitt-Trussville last night for Prattville.
Massive.
Yeah, and again,
well, I can't believe Stacy didn't send us a message.
I think he's so numb to it now. It's just
prod me.
glad we got a win, but whatever. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and take a break here on the show. When we come back, we'll start running down some scores. That definitely was one that stood out last night, and I don't know if that says more about Prattville, if it says more about Hewitt-Trussville. And I got my thoughts on that when we come back. All right, everybody stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this. So Hewitt-Trussville, this is the same situation every year for them.
Yeah.
They get number 1, they've lost 2 in a row. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like they can't they cannot handle the pressure being up top. So
I think it's more about Prattville, though. I'll hold it off until you come back, Brett. I mean, I thought the wheels were off that thing. You know, when you lose that way, but now Vestavia has gotten away from a couple of teams this year. I mean, that's a pretty good football team. Now, then they play a team that they're not as talented as, and you see what you get. And that Auburn score against Phoenix City last week makes you scratch your head, especially on the offensive side. Yeah. I'm still shocked with that one. I mean, it's they got a quarterback that you got about every SEC offer in Myers.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's not.
Carver had no problem scoring last night, man.
They didn't. Well, they didn't last year. Do you remember that?
I remember.
Didn't Phoenix City score on a late wild touchdown to beat them last year? And they both scored. Yeah. You and I got done with a game, and I think I flipped it over on NFHS last year, Brett. And Carver was scoring like every time they got the ball, and then Phoenix City was doing the same.
I think their quarterback's Mississippi State commit, Carver's.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah,
I got a bunch of them.
Yep.
Look, I got in trouble several weeks ago, but I'll say it again. I mean, Carver's got a good program. Carver's always had a good program.
No, I defended you on that, and I backed that up. And I sent, and then I got somebody that came back at me with, well, I don't count anything before whatever. I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know.
Well, we can't get into all of that. I mean, if you decide that you went to school in like 2004 and you just don't want to pay any attention to what they did before, fine. I mean, we can all come up with stuff like that. But that is a good program. It always has been a program that, you know, they upset us a few times. It was always a program that when they got off the bus, you're like, dang, what just showed up in Elliott City? I mean, look at these athletes. But they were in that region at the time, Brett, that was a lot like playing in that Thompson region. I mean, you could have a 6-4 record in Carver and have to go through Lee and Jeff Davis and that crew every year. I mean, hell, you're gonna struggle having a good record.
Right. Yeah. Not many people going 9-1, 8-2 in that one. So,
but 7A something, isn't it, Brett? I mean,
yeah, Tubbs brings up a good question. If Central and Thompson played today, do y'all think would come out? Hey, look, I think it'd be a coin flip. Probably got 20 seconds. Okay, ain't be a coin flip, man. May not even be that. I mean, Clay Chalk beating them.
They are both so well coached. It's who schemes it up the best. And you can't outcoach the other one.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Just getting started here this morning, going through some high school football scores, and haven't really gone through. I mean, just kind of pulling out some that stuck out. And, you know, when Tubbs brings up the Carver team, our Central team, and Thompson. You know, I don't know. I mean, you look at both of those teams, and heck, look, throw Carver in there playing against Thompson with the way they score points. I mean, I watched I watched Clay Chalkville knock off Thompson for the third straight year a few weeks ago, and I mean, they're built similar to them. I mean, Clay Chalkville's defense is probably a little bit better than Carver's, but from an offensive standpoint, I mean, Carver's been able to put up points up and down, and I know Carver played Thompson earlier in the season.
Got drummed.
But I'm telling you, man, I wouldn't be shocked as these teams move along in the season. I watched that game last night, Phoenix City and Carver, and, I mean, they seem to be hitting their stride. Now, Carver played them very first game of the season, didn't it? Wasn't that the first game of the season?
They did, yes.
You know, I think a lot can be taken away from that. I'm not saying they wouldn't get beat by them again and may not get beat by them again like they did the first time, but this is a Carver team in 7A that I'd be a little scared of. And I looked down and I thought They got a stretch coming up. This is probably the toughest stretch they have of the season. But going into last night, they were 5-1, and I'll be honest, they played Phoenix City a little bit better than I thought they were going to play them.
Well, with that being said, they gave up 58 points, didn't they? And
They did.
I mean, there's not many more
They
times
just couldn't stop them. They couldn't stop them.
Well, none. If you give up close to 60 points, you haven't stopped them ever, and that's a problem. So Carver, I think they can keep up with everyone from an athlete standpoint.
Yeah, sure.
On the offensive side of the ball, and they had moments last year where they could do the same. They went 6-3 last year and didn't make playoffs, Brett.
I know.
But this is something to watch coming down the stretch, especially with Opelika losing last night.
Right.
Is who gets the 4 slots into the playoffs from this region?
It's going to be tough. I'm gonna pull that up and kind of give everybody an idea of what that looks like, because that's going to be a crazy region, and they match up, by the way, with the Birmingham region in the first round, which is tough.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean that's a hard thing to deal with, and the reason that rotates like that is because there's only 4 regions in 7A, so you don't really have a choice. And so this is the year that it rotates where those 2 regions meet up in the first round. So you're going to have some really good football teams exit in the first round. And then you'll turn around, because there's only 3 rounds in 7A. You're going to have some really good teams exit in the second round. So real quick comment, Tub said he found our Rod Scott documentary last night. He said, Brett, I was showing my kids highlights of Rod Scott last night and found a documentary with you narrating it. Great stuff. Yeah, that was a very good Hometown Heroes that we did that, probably one of the best. I mean, they're all good. We're all, very biased for them, but that Rod Scott documentary was very, very good. And I think the Alabama Department of Transportation still goes around and shows that documentary around schools still to this day. And, that's where the seatbelt law in the back seat came from and all that. So we can talk about that a little bit later, but appreciate that. All right, here's this region 2 for 7A. And Auburn, I'll just run down the records. 5-0 Phoenix City is in first. Then you got Auburn and Carver Montgomery at 4-1 in the region. I'm not going through overall records. Then you have Opelika at 3-2, Dothan at 2-3, and that's a good Dothan team, by the way, that sits there at 2-3. Enterprise, that was their first region win, Randy. They're 1-4, and so Smith Station 1-4, and then you have Jag at 0-5. But that's my point. What I was saying to you, there's always a game where you go. If you looked at that last night, going into that game with Opelika 3-1 and Dothan 0-4, or Enterprise 0-4, going that game, you're like, well, man, that's over. That Opelika is going to go down there and do what they've done to everybody else. And then you look up and Enterprise is beating them 42-20. It's crazy.
It is. And I think the biggest shock with Enterprise all season long was the way that they had given up so many points up to that point. But it's the same last night. If I had to pick Opelika to lose to Enterprise, I wouldn't be surprised by that, but I would think it would be like 21-17 or something. And
right,
not Opelika giving up 42 points. I just didn't see that coming. So, but great football around the state. Run down 7A and let me hear some scores, Brett, maybe some that stand out most to you, especially that Prattville score. And look, one of our best friends is Stacy Mills, who handles all the broadcasting for Prattville, and he lives and breathes Prattville football, and he keeps Brett and myself engaged more with Prattville athletics than we probably would without him. And so if you think we're prodding a little bit, a lot of times we're prodding our friend Stacy, because we know that he, like us, when things aren't good, it's not good. Like if you can't imagine a few years back when we were going through 3 seasons of less than 500 football in Ellick City, and Stacy was definitely asking Brett a few questions every Friday night on what was going on. But Prattville is a little surprising, Brett. I mean, because we all still mentally think that Prattville is that juggernaut that they built back in the 2000s.
Yeah, they exactly, and I'll go through that Birmingham region as well coming up here in just a minute. I'll get to some scores as we pull them up. I know we've got about a minute. What we'll do is we'll run a few scores down, and I'll look up that Birmingham region, kind of give you where that sits because that's kind of crazy too. That one's kind of all over the place except for Thompson, and then we'll kind of see how that one might play out, who would position for 2, 3, and 4 in that region. But 7A last night, it was Auburn shutting out Smith Station 38-0. It was Austin over Bob Jones 31-7. Baker over Foley 41-9. That Phoenix City game that we talked about 58-35 over Carver. Daphne shut out Alma Bryant 39-0. Here's your old defensive battle. Davidson beat Robertsdale 15-14 last night. That's a good football game. Dothan over Jag 56-24. That Enterprise game, yes, surprising. 42-20 over the Opelika Bulldogs. Florence over Grissom 43-0. Hoover, no problem with Tuscaloosa County 51-7. Huntsville over Albertville 34-0. James Clemens, good football game there against Sparkman 31-24. Mary Montgomery held on to beat Fairhope. Mary Montgomery undefeated. They're the team to beat in the Mobile region in 7A. They had a good football game. They beat Fairhope 28-21. Prattville over Hewitt-Trussville by 3, 24-21. Thompson, no problem with Hillcrest Tuscaloosa last night, 56-10. And Vestavia knocks off Oak Mountain 41-0. You talk about a program that struggles. Oak Mountain, they're just not competitive in that classification, and I don't have answers. They're not going to be dropping down to 6A. So they're a program that's just got to figure it out if they want to try to win some football games. But right now they're having a lot more of these kind of games than they are close games. So all right, that's 7A. We'll come back and we'll talk some more about some particular scores there, and then we'll start running down each classification all the way down to 1A. Stay tuned. More to come here on the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this. Let me pull up Birmingham region for 7A.
Boy, that would be miserable. There's not much you can do.
Just get killed every week. I mean, I don't know what else. I mean, it's not a cut on anybody. It's just reality. All right, I'll pull up Thompson.
And, their record usually before they get into region plays pretty good. They'll play Pelham well. They'll play Chelsea well. They'll go around through the 6A schools. And I'm not saying they win all of those either because they don't every year. But
Oak Mountain's 3-4.
Yeah.
And they're
hey, it's normally. And then they end up like 4-6, and they've lost practically all their region games and won the outer region games.
Yeah, they're 1-4 in region games. All right, so man, this region's all over the place except for Thompson. Thompson's 5-0, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 teams at 3-2 in the region.
Yeah.
So Adam heard that Opelika's first string QB was no longer on the team, and they're starting number 3 at QB now.
Well, the third string, yeah. And
that's one that
Brett and I know him very, very well. And Witt didn't have a darn thing to do with him giving up 42 points last night. I'll put it that way.
I think he's probably saying that they're maybe struggling a little bit on offense, probably. And
if you lose 42-20, what are you worried about?
Oh, I'm worried about why I'm not stopping them.
I'm worried about why in the hell am I not stopping them?
That's an outlier score for Opelika.
Oh, I know it. That's the shocking score. I would not be surprised if Opelika lost to Enterprise. I wouldn't. And yet they are down to their third string quarterback. He's 10th grader's great 3-sport athlete. His name's Witt Cooper. He's thrown to the fire. Last week, if you remember, he was our Lee County Athlete of the Week, Brett. He threw a 95-yard touchdown pass with about a minute to go against Dothan. Opelika had stopped Dothan inside the 5. Right. Going into just cap it off. They were up 14-13. So, I mean, Opelika was really close to losing that one last week, and then they hit that pass over the top and win that game. So,
Opelika struggled offensively they've struggled offensively in several games. I mean, they struggled against us. They struggled against Auburn, obviously. They struggled against Dothan last week. Obviously, they struggled last night. The common denominator for them every week's their defense, but they got torched last night. And Tubbs comes out and says, "Where is Jamie Dubose now?" I don't know where Jamie is.
I'm not aware. Stacy would know.
He's moved around a lot. I know
he has.
All right, we got 10 seconds, guys, so we'll be back.
What a great coach, though, by the way. One of Brett Pritchard's favorites over the year. Put him on camera with Brett, buddy, they can go for 10 hours straight. Neither one of them have to ask a question, each of them.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. We appreciate both of them so very much for their long-time partnership with us here on our program. They've been the stalwarts here on this Saturday Sports Countdown forever. And so if you need heating and air work, you need to check out Sunshine Heating and Air. They do and been doing work for me for a long time. And Kevin Keel and his staff and Cliff. Cliff's one of the best technicians I've ever been around. I've watched him work, and he comes out and he can diagnose whatever. The only problem for Kevin is there's only one Cliff. I don't know what to tell him. It's like Cliff is the guy, and he handles everything. So he's just such a good, dependable guy, but he's got other good staff too. But check out Sunshine Heating and Air if you need some heating and air work. They'll take care of you. And JR Sports Bar and Grill. I've probably said JR's as much as I've said any other word in the English language over the last 25 plus years. And so, and have eaten as much JR's as I've eaten any other food on this planet. But again, I keep going back because it's great. There's one thing to say, you're partnered with somebody and it's all good. But if food suck, it'd be like, y'all go to JR's. I'm gonna go down here. It's net when anybody ever says, "Hey, you want to go grab some JR's?" It's like, yeah, I do. I mean, well, when are we going? So that's kind of tells you about what they do at JR's and how good they've been to our communities. So make sure you go out and patronize both of them. They've been great for us here on our program, and I wouldn't be getting up every Saturday morning for the umpteenth year if we didn't have good partners like JR's and Sunshine Heating and Air. I can promise you that. So, all right, just want to go back to talk about what Tubbs said about Jamie Dubose. Yeah, Jamie Dubose is a great coach. I don't know where he is right now. If somebody knows, he just asked that question. We've kept up with him for the last several years, and he's moved around in some different places, and he's hopped over and coached in Georgia and's been back. And but he's one of the best coaches that I've been around, like you said, Randy, in this state. And we've even had him do some work with us on the radio network. He's come over and coached, and done some broadcasting with us and some state championship games. So might look him up, see if he's available coming up here in a few weeks. He does a great job on the radio, everything he does. So I don't know if somebody knows where Coach Dubose is, or if Coach Dubose is watching, just tell us where you are. Sometimes he tunes us in. I know that. Wayne said Oak Mountain beat Pelham with 5 seconds to go on a 46-yard Hail Mary, 30-29. So, remember seeing some stuff on that. And then there's been some crazy endings to some games this year. I know that Homewood game was bizarre. What was that? The pass, the throw up into the end zone.
That's Mountain Brook. Mountain Brook snaps it over the quarterback's head. Yeah. He runs back 30 yards, throws it up in the middle of the end zone, and that was the great one. But back to Oak Mountain, there's 3 teams there that if they draw the short straw, Brett, and end up back in 7A, it's a nightmare. And those 3 teams are Oak Mountain, Chelsea, and also Spain Park. We've got Spain Park in our region right now. You've got Chelsea, who's just back down to 6A.
Right.
But if any of those 3 teams kind of creep their way back into that region,
disaster.
Oh, it is.
Disaster. I hate to say it that way, but man, I don't think anybody watching that goes to those schools would say anything different. Chelsea couldn't have gotten out of that fast enough. It was like, who did we make mad to get pushed up here in this. But to look at that region in Birmingham, like I told you during the break, it's crazy. You got Thompson that has separated themselves from everybody at 5-0, and then you got Hewitt-Trussville at 3-2. You got Hoover at 3-2. You got Vestavia Hills at 3-2, and now you have Prattville at 3-2. So Thompson is in, right? You feel pretty good that Hewitt-Trussville is going to be in, although they've lost 2 now. But I still would say Hewitt-Trussville probably going to get one of those 4 spots. Then it comes down to Hoover, Vestavia, and Prattville, and then you got, depending on who they've got left, Hillcrest, Tuscaloosa, they're 2 and 3. I mean, this thing's far from being determined on who's the 4 teams coming out of that region.
Oh man, and that's part of why you're hearing what's going on in the state of Georgia, where they're trying to adopt a top 32 teams bracket for their state tournament, because it's unfortunate how these area and regions work out from year to year. I always bring this one up as one that sticks in my mind on why we ended up in the region format.
Right.
Well, the area format was even worse. I mean, if you ended up in an area with 4 really good teams, like we would do quite often, Brett,
yes,
then and only 2 of them get through, I mean, you'd have seasons where one of the top 5 teams in the state wouldn't make playoffs.
There's no doubt.
I'll never forget a late 90s season where us, Phoenix City, and Opelika were in the same region, and we both lost to Phoenix City. And then it's Ben Russell playing Opelika, and Opelika's got 1 loss, and we got 1 loss late in the season to decide who's going to make the playoffs. And we won the game, thank the Lord, because we ended up going on to a state championship game that year.
Right.
But it was the last, a few seconds batted down ball in the end zone that won us the game. And then Opelika goes 8-2 on the season, doesn't make playoffs. That's how crazy that setup can be from time to time. So do you like what Georgia's trying to implement? I mean,
there's a power rankings thing here in the state for every classification. And, for 7A, it probably makes sense, because until they figure out, let's just be honest, okay? The Huntsville bracket and the Mobile bracket for 7A, nobody's ever come out of the Huntsville bracket since they've gone to 7A. I'm not dismissing football up there, and there's some good teams up there. But let's be honest. Well, let's be honest. They have not matched up. And so the Mobile, yes, they've had some teams come out of there, but it's been a while. And now you got Mary Montgomery that has risen up and kind of taken the mantle down there, but they have to go through a Phoenix City or somebody like that, and they've yet to do that. So it's really these 2 regions, and it's a shame that maybe a Dothan or an Opelika or somebody like that gets left out of the playoffs because they happen to be in a stacked region, and then you let some of these teams in from a couple of these other regions that don't play the schedule, don't have the week in and week out gauntlet that they have to go through, and they get into the playoffs, and again, they fizzle out pretty early. So yeah, I don't have a magic answer for that, but I definitely think there needs to be some things looked at, because it's going to continue. The state champion's going to continue to come out of one of those 2 regions, unless Mary Montgomery comes up and upsets somebody, and they work their way up, and they possibly could, because they've got a great football team.
Yeah, they get better too. Yeah,
they got to do it before you can say that'll happen. So some comments coming in, and then we'll go to break. Jamie Dubose is coaching in Biloxi, John says.
Okay.
So we appreciate that. Tubb said that Pike Road may have the best defense in 6A. Very, very good defense down there for sure.
I think they've got 4 D1 signees on their defensive side of the ball.
Well, there you go. That's why you're pretty good. Adam said, I caught the end of the Helena Pelham game. Pelham struggled to stop the run. Was up 10-0 at half. Pelham had a chance to win with 5 minutes left to go, and Helena stopped them. Helena is much better than their record indicates. There's no doubt. Look, we saw Helena last week, and we had to score 2 defensive touchdowns in that game where we scored 28 points. So Helena's always well coached. They're good on the lines of scrimmage.
They are, yes.
They're struggling offensively this year, and that's really kind of the difference that in those in that season they had last year and the season they're having this year. Just not as much offense as they've had in the past. All right, up against another break. Stay tuned. A lot more to come here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Run those scores, Brett.
I'll do it.
I'll jump in where one that pops up to me. Central Clay won again, didn't they?
Yeah, they don't have it. They're not having any more close.
Elmore County played
I'm
last
going
night.
to say this. They play Pale City at the end of the season, and Pale City's better.
They've gotten better, haven't they?
They're a better football team. For sure.
Rush had that thing going in the right direction there. But
Oof.
I know it.
It is. It is a soap opera everywhere. All right, let's look at Pale City where they are. They are 5-2 on the season. They are 3-2 in their region. They beat Pelham 22-14, Coosa Christian 28-27. That's a big win for them. Coosa Christian's good, man. They got drummed by Clay Chalkville 52-9. Beat Mount Brook 10-3, beat Huffman 49-7, lost to Oxford 36-31. That's Shades Valley they beat last night 21-14. They got Pinson Valley, Central Clay, and Southside Gadsden left. So that'll be a good football game between Central Clay and Pale City. We'll look at the Central Clay Vols while we're here going through some of these.
6-1 now or 7-1?
They're 7-1. They have most points they've given up in a game is 21 to Valley since us, and they gave up 40 to us. So they beat Hanley 26-3, Valley 29-21, Margaret 39-14, Sylacauga 58-17, Scottsboro 26-9. Elmore County was a good football game. They won with 9 seconds, 21-14. They shut out Hopeful last night. 42-0. They got Beauregard and Pale City left, and Central Clay's going to win your region there. They're 5-0. Beauregard's all they've got left. Beauregard's 2-2. Wouldn't matter if they beat them. So Central Clay's won their region again, and I think they're number 6 or 7 in the state in 5A. They'll make another good run.
They will, yes. Got the quarterback back.
Yep, which helps them tremendously.
Yes, that was a scary, scary deal. Week 1.
Yeah, that was terrible. All right, we'll be in 6A when we come back. And I'll look at our region, too, when we come to it, since we're going to talk about Benjamin Russell since we were off this week. Yeah, we got 20 seconds. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Get your comments in here if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook. We are just now getting down to 6A, but before we do that, we'll talk about the team that you and I cover every Friday night. Had a Friday night off, so got the chance to go down to Prime Steakhouse last night. Let me give a plug there for our good friend Eric McKinley. I had a lot of people come up to me and go, "Aren't you supposed to be in a football stadium somewhere?" I'm like, "Not tonight. We have an off night." So a lot of us went down to Prime Steakhouse last night, by the way, which was slammed once again, outside and inside. There wasn't an open table anywhere. Had live music playing. The guy that was playing last night was phenomenal. Just had a great atmosphere. If you haven't been to Prime Steakhouse down at Stillwater's, you're missing out. And again, the food is unbelievable. Brian Cosby is one of the best chefs. I'm just telling you. I've been to you've been to steakhouses. We've been, all of us, great places. There's not one better right now than Prime. I promise you. So go check them out. Just had to give a plug there for them. All right. So the reason I was there last night is because Benjamin Russell was off. They have a 3-game stretch coming up to close the season. Pelham, Chelsea, Percy Julian. That game got moved to Thursday night, so it'll be October the 30th instead of on Halloween night. Now, some of the kids were a little disappointed in that. They were kind of excited about being on Halloween, but they're going to move that game up to Thursday. So the Wildcats sitting here in this region. Let's look at the region standings. Benjamin Russell 4-0 in region play in first place, and then you've got Pelham at 3-2, Spain Park at 3-1, Helena and Chelsea both 2-2, Calera 1-3, and Chilton County 0-5. So the way this thing sets up, Chelsea's 2-2, and you got Pelham at 3-2. If the Wildcats win one of those two games, the region is over for them, because Spain Park has obviously lost to Benjamin Russell head-to-head, so Benjamin Russell would have the head-to-head tie. They'd have to lose 2 of those for Spain Park to jump them. So, barring something crazy, Wildcats need to go take care of business next Friday, and they'll clinch the region.
And look, that's should always be a goal. We got our wall over there that we paint every year, Brett, whenever we add a number to that region championship wall. And it's a big number now. And, that's one that you point back to. Which one of those were yours, Randy? When we're out there on the field with the new coaches that come into town. And I'm like, well, 2 of them over there on that wall I played on. And so that is something you can be proud of. We'd all like to have Hoover's run of state championships and have 15 of them that we can claim. But I mean, that's just not living in reality at this point in time. But those region titles should mean something. And you talked about it with Central Clay. It looks like Central Clay's in a good spot to win them another one too, aren't they?
They are. Looks like Central Clay will win the region again. They only have one region game left with Beauregard, and Beauregard's, I think, 2-2 in the region, and I think they'll chalk it up. Even if they were to lose that game, they're still going to win the region. Wildcats won the region in 23, so very close to putting up another number, like you said, Randy. 16 region championships in school history, so that would be number 17 going up on the wall. So it's a big deal. And again, it's a program with a brand new head coach and brand new staff outside of a couple of guys that stayed over. And outside of a 5-point loss to Opelika, where there were a lot of mistakes in that game, they've really rolled. And obviously Spain Park was a really good football game. Kind of figured that the winner of that game would have the leg up in the region. It would be tough if you lost that game to have a shot to win the region. That team that won would have to stumble a couple of times. And Spain Park and Ben Russell were dead even, in my opinion, and the score showed that. 1 point separated them.
Oh, they're great. Look, we got out of there, and sometimes you got to watch what you say to Brett Pritchard when he's in an emotional, competitive spirit, and he's thinking Ben Russell and he's bleeding maroon over there, and I'm like, Brett, like this, we didn't just get this one gifted to us, buddy. That team across the way played good.
Had to win it.
And they're going to be a deep run in the playoffs. And my gosh, we match up with them again, I think it's going to be just the same. I think it's going to be
possibly in the third round.
35-34 type of game. So Spain Park, very well coached. Brock Bradley. Sometimes you'll get these SEC or D1 quarterbacks, and you're like, I don't know. I know about him. That when the ball comes out of his hand, it's pretty much going where he wants it to go. And he, by the way, just announced as one of the Alabama Mississippi All-Star quarterbacks, along with Landon Duckworth from Jackson High School, Brett. So we'll be able to cover him a little bit more. That's a talented group in state. On the offensive side of the ball, this is an exceptionally talented group in the state of Alabama. I think Corey Barber may be the best high school football player in the state. He's showing it, Brett. Last year, he was with Brock Bradley at Spain Park, and hell, they pulled him out at halftime. He done blistered us for about 180. in the first half. He's like, just please get him on out of there. Let's don't let him get hurt and humiliate us any more than he has. And now he's moved over to Clay Chalkville, Brett, and he puts up PlayStation numbers against Thompson a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
So he's unbelievably good. And my point is, you got Sedarian, you got him, you got BJ, you got others at receiver with those two quarterbacks throwing to them.
My gosh,
you should be able to put some offense on the field.
Yeah, that's a loaded team for sure for Alabama. That's coached by Kirk Johnson.
Yep.
Benjamin Russell. So Kirk Johnson, the head coach, and we'll have Coach Johnson on the show to talk about the Alabama Mississippi game a little bit later. I know him well enough now that he's like, Brett, don't call me about that game right now. I'm trying to get through this season. So, but yeah, I know that he and I talked about it last week, and he's very honored to be able to coach and be part of this. And again, it's good to have two kids from Alex City on that team. I mean, let's be honest about it. It's an honor. We've had several over the years to make that roster, and you'll add two more now to that list for Benjamin Russell. All right, we're going to take another break. We come back, we will get to these scores. We'll start running these down as we close out the first hour and get into hour number 2. Stay tuned. More to come right after this. So, yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, and I've got that scenario, if you want me to run through that a little bit, it was
finish out with some scores around the state.
Yeah, I will. I mean, we got plenty of time. We got a whole hour and 10 minutes to talk. So,
but this is the last segment on high school, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
I say let's move to college after this segment. Mary Montgomery, Brett, you see the comment up there?
I did. We're going to get down there. We're traveling down to St. Michael's in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
To catch up with them because they've got the game of the week coming up. So while we're there, we may slide over to Mary Montgomery and get some footage and stuff there.
That'd be smart. That'd be good.
Like to go over there and see their program and see what's going on. I'll just run this scenario down. Like this was a this weekend scenario for 6A. So Benjamin Russell would match up with Central Tuscaloosa in the first round. And then below them was Theodore Stanhope, McAdory, Spain Park, Pike Road, St. Paul's. And that's the top part of the bracket. The bottom part of the bracket is Russell County, Spanish Fort, Hueytown, Chelsea, Saraland, Wetumpka, Capella, and Bessemer City. Not to say much, but Saraland beat St. Paul's last night 40. They beat the dog out of them. It wasn't even close, like 42-7 or something like that. Saraland has kind of got that. I mean, I haven't seen Russell County. I think Russell County got a good football team, but
they got a great quarterback.
Saraland is the real deal down there. But up here, I mean, so just kind of fast forwarding, if Ben Russell were to win game 1, they would have to play the winner of Theodore Stanhope in this scenario. If they were to win that game, they're either going to have to play Spain Park, Pike Road, or St. Paul's in round 3, and then in round 4, they have to play Saraland.
And that would have us traveling to Theodore. Theodore beat Stanhope.
Yeah, that would be us going to Theodore, and then that would probably have us, since we beat Spain Park in the regular season, and on top of the bracket, be home in the 3rd round against them. I don't know how it would play out if it were Pike Road or St. Paul's. So I've been doing this 840 years, and I still don't understand, and a lot of people don't, how the thing changes.
Well, it's mileage. Once it gets into both teams are equal with their – okay.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Got a couple of questions coming through.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill. Sunshine Heating and Air, just kind of discussing some scenarios and playoffs, and we'll get to that later on in the next couple of weeks when we start seeing a clearer picture. But just during the break, just kind of going through some stuff. Tubb said, I tell you, Brett, Mary Montgomery is a place you need to go see and find out. We're definitely going to go by there. I'll make sure. Faith and I are going to St. Michael's. St. Michael. It's not St. Michael's. I get mad when I hear people say that too, and I just said it. St. Michael Catholic, Phillip Rivers, Gunner Rivers. They're the new number 1 team in 4A. when they knock Jackson off. So we'll go see them in a few weeks. And while we're there, we'll probably slide over and go take a look at Mary Montgomery and see what they've got going on there, because they definitely are the class of 7A in the Mobile region. So looking forward to that. Tubb said, is that Clay Chalville coach who got fired going to be able to coach again anytime soon? I'd imagine they would be an even better program if he was there. You're talking about Drew Gilmer, and the crazy thing about it is I haven't talked to Drew since all that went down. And I know Drew Gilmer very well and communicated with them very well, and have not heard anything from Drew. Haven't heard anything from anybody that knows anything about where Drew might be or what's going on there. So, I mean, Drew was a phenomenal football coach. It was very apparent, and very unfortunate situation with all that happened at Hoover. And I don't know if he'll ever emerge back, Randy, if he'll ever be back in the coaching ranks, but he was a good football coach for sure.
Well, I know you hope he does. I don't know Drew personally, but you do and think a lot of him, and you'd hate for someone, having a bad incident like that to be the only reason that keeps you out. I mean, everybody deserves a second chance to maybe handle themselves a little different than they did before. And I'd never heard any issues with it before. So
it just shocked me. That whole thing was shocking.
So I think somebody's going to end up with a great coach. It happens all the time, and they end up getting everything back going in the right direction. So I would expect that from him at some point would be my answer. But what do I know? I don't know.
I don't either. Wayne said, who you favor, Helena or Chelsea this week? Man,
I haven't seen Chelsea. Helena's good. There's Brett just mentioned there's nothing wrong with Helena outside of a struggle on the offensive side, moving the ball consistently. But Lord, they've got their 14th Roberto linebacker in there, and that cat can play like the rest of his brothers. Right. Every single one of those kids, like. We got a mutual friend that's a friend with the father, and I just want to tip my hat to that father, because he has trained up some very good football players. There's great athletes, and then there's just really good football players that play the game the right way, and all those brothers were just bulls at linebacker and played the game the right way. So, and he had about 48 tackles against us last week, and we did win the ball game. Well, Brett made mention we had to score 2 defensive touchdowns to get to the 28 that we got. So Chelsea's had a good year, though. I got family on that Chelsea team, so I'm not going to say it out loud, but I'd like to see them continue their good season, and we'll play them later in the season, Brett. But 2 good teams, I think, this year.
Yeah. Chelsea unfortunately ran into Spain Park last night. And got beat 44-7. So, but that's the case for a lot of teams. All right, let's talk about 6A. I'll just go through some of these scores. I won't name all of them. Clay Chalville rolls again over Huffman 56-6. That was pretty much a scrimmage game for them. In Benjamin Russell's region, Calera 41, Chilton County 16. Gulf Shores knocked off Spanish Fort last night 24-19. That was a big game there. That's going to be an interesting region to see who comes out there. That's a back and forth. Somebody's going to draw a 4 seed out of that region. It ain't going to be fun to play. I can just tell you that.
Just Spanish Fort is a shocker this year. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. I mean, they don't have the normal team that they have, and players and families migrate around that community, and we live up here in the Birmingham region, and I was talking to somebody this week, Brett, you may have been in the conversation with me. I'm like, we think they move around a lot in the northern half of the state.
Oh, man.
Give me a break. Look, again, I got family down there, and they're like, well, that quarterback was over there about 3 weeks ago, and now he's over here. And it's not just, Gulf Shores had a lot of transfers a few years ago, but it's not just them. They all do it. It gets so crazy to me, and I don't want to go down this path too much, but I've had some arguments with some very, very well-known people that are high up and talking a lot about high school sports in this state, and the idea that we're going to throw shade on one program over another, and when you look around and all of them have got
Oh, yeah.
players moving in and out of the programs. I mean, come on, let's don't all be hypocrites, please. And down there in that part of the state, Brett, that's what they do. They've been doing it for 20 years.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like I said, sometimes it's week to week. I mean,
Yeah.
it's wild to see. Continue on with some scores here in 6A. McGill-Tulane over Blount, 35-8. Blount, don't know what's happened there. Again, goes back to what you said. A guy moving in and out, and it can make a big difference. Hartsville over Athens, 28-14. That was a good football game. Helena with that 1-point win over Pelham last night, 21-20. That was again, got several teams in this region that are very even. I think Chelsea, Pelham, Helena, they're all kind of right there in the same boat. Mountain Brook over Pinson Valley, 39-35. Parker put 70 on the board against Minor last night, 70-20. Pell City over Shades Valley, 21-14. Pike Road shut out Stanhope Elmore, 37-0. Saraland over St. Paul's, 42-10. St. Paul's did add a field goal there late. It was 42-7. Spain Park, 44-7 over Chelsea, and Wetumpka beat Percy Julian 34-20. And I hate to tell our friend Tucker down there, but it looks like Wetumpka's on a collision course with Saraland in the first round.
Oh, he already knows.
Yeah,
I mean, he's on it.
I know we talked about it and stuff, but I mean, it is what it is. So, all right, we're going to take the top of the hour break. We come back, we'll get 5A through 1A, and then we'll be into college football a lot to talk about on that side. Stay tuned. Hour number 2 of the Saturday Sports Countdown coming up right after this.
Real-Town play last night?
I don't know if they did or not. Yes, they beat Lafayette 48-0.
Okay.
There was a score I was going to tell you about here. I just looked up that stood out, and I can't find it. I'll go back through it again. Maybe I'll remember. Oh, Valley knocking off Elmore County 20-17.
Oh, man.
It's 2 in a row for them.
Well, and that's not a shocking score. I mean, Valley's been good.
Valley's good, man. Valley's good. Valley's good for sure.
Boy, that's going to be a fun region for us to play in if all things work out and we keep down in enrollment.
I think it's going to. I think, unless something changes from what I've seen preliminary.
And by the way, those that are tuning in, I mean, we've been on a downward track for enrollment for 15 years. We just sit there on that borderline between 5 and 6A. And, you keep going down in enrollment. You're going to end up down there. And look, here I'm one to say that we got a great team and we would probably run through 5A for the most part this year, but that's not the norm, Brett. I mean, our normal teams are the ones that Braden played on. And those teams in 5A are good football teams and can be a consistent winner and takes into the playoffs and have a good chance. I mean, but you look 6A in some of these years that we have.
Yeah, you look at Braden's group. If they'd have played 5A football, I mean, they could have
been 7 or 8 win team.
Yeah,
they'd had a good time. I mean, that's more the norm in Elliott City than now. In Elliott City, we can get a group like this. But you can't count on it. It's my point.
No, it's not like Thompson and Hoover. Like you expect that to just be the
and nothing frustrates me more than to
20 seconds.
Look down and the number be 598 and we're at 606.
I know
it's like, oh my Lord, please no.
Yes. Sucks. Welcome back, everyone. Hour number 2 of the Saturday Sports Countdown. We're glad that you have joined us this morning. About to dive into some college football here if you're just tuning us in, but we got to finish up high school. Had a lot to talk about here in high school, and we're down to 5A, so we'll just hit some specific scores as we move forward. Briarwood over John Carroll Catholic 23-7, Andalusia over Eufaula 42-10. That was a little bit of a shocker there. Central Clay continues to roll. They knock off Hopeful 42-0. It was let's see some more. Montgomery Catholic over Headland 51-7. That's a big deal there for Montgomery Catholic trying to get back to the playoffs. No, they had a lot of change, obviously, in their coaching staff and players and stuff. And they seem to kind of are getting things rolling again down there with the transition. So good to see there. Moody over Leeds 25-22. A good football game there between two rivals. Scottsboro over Gunnersville 31-10. Shelby County's got a good football team this year. They beat Montevallo 50-21. St. Clair County over Springville 42-21. It was Sylacauga over Marbury 36-35 in overtime. So a big win there for Sylacauga. Valley knocks off a very good Elmore County team 20-17. That was a good football game there. Viger in 5A is just rolling through people. They beat Faith Academy 47-0 last night, and Williamson, another very good football team in 5A, knocked off UMS Wright 40-10. So that's Class 5A. 4A is a little bit crazy. When you look at it, St. Michael Catholic's the number one team. They knock off Mobile Christian 46-37. You see a lot of their games like that, don't you?
Yep, you do. And, especially that part of the state, you're going to have athletes. I mean, all of these, there's just enough athletes to go around, and they find their way to programs that they can get out on the field and make plays. So, but they won the same way with Jackson. Last year was at the third round of the playoffs, Brett. It was really the lone game that Jackson had a close game in the playoff run last year. And St. Michael scored 30-some-odd points and lost like 40-30, if memory serves me correct. So this has been the norm. But you're not going to hold down Gunner Rivers. It's not going to happen. So
no, he's dynamic. We'll see him in a few weeks when we travel down to St. Michael for the game of the week. Hanley knocked off Tallahassee 45-14. Hanley's having a really good season this year. So again, Tallahassee 3-4 on the season. Still think they'll make the playoffs in their region. So, but it's been a little bit more of an up and down season for Coach O'Neill and those guys down there at Tallahassee. A few more scores. Jackson, the team you were just talking about, knocked off Orange Beach 41-0. So Jackson just takes a special effort and a special player to have a chance to knock off a team like Jackson. And, again, would not be surprised at the end of the day if Jackson ends up winning 4A again. I mean, they seem to have been the class of that classification, but St. Michael going to have something to say about it this year for sure. I had something to say about it last year and definitely got to have something to say about it this year. All right, Class 3A, just running down a few. Randolph County over B.B. Comer 56-12. Let's see. I want to find some. Beulah over Chillsburg 40-22. Trying to find some that are more close to this area. Glenwood knocked off Dayville 50-22. Dayville now 1-6 on the season, Randy.
Didn't expect it. Had some really tough losses where they were in the ball game.
Two overtime losses.
Yeah, just couldn't get over the hump. And, they go through cycles in Dayville. You've got to ride them, and you got to be realistic too. We're right next door to them, and we've said this about Ben Russell. I can look down in the 7th and 8th grade group most of the time, and say, well, that's going to be a good group coming through, and that one's not. That one is not going to be very. And so those that are engaged in the programs here in these communities where they have a down cycle, you've got to look and say, well, could somebody do something better than what we're doing now? And just a tough stretch of football in Dayville, and not one that they get very often. That's a great football community.
And like I said, they've got a chance for the games that they have remaining. They've got one region win already. They've got a chance to pick up 2 more in the next 2 weeks. If my math is correct on this, it looks like that would get them the 4th seed. It'd almost be a mirror image of what they did last year. And they went to Montgomery Academy last year, and they were the number 1 team in that, and then almost beat them. I mean, it was 26-19, had a lead late in the game, and just couldn't hold on. So, again, they still have, and it's crazy. And I said this on the Late March Sports Roundup show this week. They still have a lot to play for. And I know even though the record doesn't show it, you got to kind of keep your players motivated because you get 2 more wins, you get to go to the playoffs. All right, down in 2A, just going to run through some of this. Coosa Christian, man, they just dominate 41-8 over Cold Springs. Lynette. This is impressive because Central Coosa has been scoring on everybody this year. I went through their record. They got 3 wins on the season, and they've been playing a lot better football. And
they didn't last week.
Well, I know, but I mean overall, when you compare what they've been the last 3 or 4 years,
somebody's got to be out. I'm with you. I agree with you. Someone that actually knows what's going on in that program is going to tell us the quarterback's out.
Well, have to be.
Somebody like that because they didn't score against Lochapoka last week.
And they got shut out against Lynette last night.
Yeah, that's not the norm. There's some players that have either decided not to play anymore, and
right there's
somebody that's injured. But because they had things rolling too good offensively.
But I want to go back and say Lynette, though, knocking off Reeltown last week is the story here. Here comes Lynette again. So Lynette is they're the leader in that region. Unless they stumble, Reeltown's going to be number 2 and Lynette's going to be number 1. It'll still get Reeltown a home playoff game in the first round, but big win for Lynette getting that 1-point win, 20-19 last week over Reeltown. Reeltown shuts out Lafayette 48-0. Lochapoka all over Horseshoe Bend 55-7, and just looking at the rest of the season for Horseshoe Bend, they're winless on the season. And you look at the games that they have remaining. I know they've got Woodland, a 1A team, coming up to end the season, to be out of region, but doesn't look promising for Horseshoe Bend to get a region win this year.
No, they may not get a win, period. And that was a little bit of a surprise as they won 6 ball games last year.
Right.
And Jeremy, I think he does a great job over there. I do. I think they play the game the right way. It's just it's a cyclical thing as well in that community. You either got to run athletes or a line of scrimmage that can match up, or you don't. And one that I think is just a good football program over in our area is Lochapoka. That's a good program, Brett. Every year they put a very good product out there on the field.
They're
coached up. They play the right way. When we go cover them, I don't care if it's you, Lauren, or whoever we have sent over there in years past. They're like, man, I like those people. Those are people that are glad to see us come into their school and give them some pub. And when I make a post of a kid from over there, Brett, I can tell passionate communities whenever they get behind their kids when they get
right.
A little statewide acclaim. And that's one of them over there where they love their football. They're good in all sports. They really always have been.
They do have a good overall program. All right, closing out 1A, like I said, not to slight anybody. Leroy's got a good football team. They beat Southern Choctaw 28-14. But when you look at this classification, it's Wadley. They knocked off Lee Scott, who's a 3A team, and a pretty good 3A team, 42-7 last night. And then you look up at Maplesville, they knocked off Billingsley, shut them out 42-0. There's your 2 teams that you're going to watch heading down the stretch. Notasulga over Elwood 46-6. Linden over Holy Spirit 30-13. I mean, there's some good football teams. Elba over Pleasant Home 29-0. But
no, this is a 2-headed monster.
Yep,
now,
that's it.
If Leroy catches one of them in the 3rd round or the semis and they fumble the ball 3 or 4 times, you and I know Leroy well enough to know they can win a game if all things go in their favor. But I hate to be that way. I mean,
it's the truth. I mean,
you and I don't have a cheering interest one way or another, and I'd rather the games be close, but they're not going to be. I mean, these 2 teams are about they're on a collision course towards each other again in the finals. And the question is Maplesville a much better football team than they were last year? Because last year that thing got out of hand early and it stayed out of hand.
It did. All right, that is going to wrap us up for high school. We will head into college, the remainder of the program. So stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown coming up right after this.
You going to start with Bama this morning?
I have to.
What's that line? I mean, it's only 2, isn't it?
Talking about Missouri? Yeah.
Yeah.
Missouri's good, man, and it's up there.
There's nothing more frustrating to be an Auburn fan than to go, Missouri's good, man, and it's up there. And then you're like,
it's true. It's the honest truth.
Oh, there's so much better a program than us right now. It's just not even up for debate.
It's all of how things are run. And we talk about this all the time and everything on earth. You either have your crap together or you don't. And look, I'm going to say this about Auburn. DJ Durkin's got his crap together. I mean, there is no doubt every week, and he's going to do it tonight. He's going to put a good product on the field, and Georgia's going to struggle to score. I mean, it's going to be that way. Like, Georgia ain't going to run up and down the field on that team. Ain't going to do it. They're just not defensively. Auburn's got playmakers on defense, man. And I look at Gunnar Stockton's numbers, and I look at Jackson Arnold's numbers. There is a dime's difference in both of them. Gunnar Stockton's got 200 more yards passing than Jackson Arnold. He's got one more touchdown, but he's got a pick than Jackson. I mean, there ain't nothing that separates them. I mean, they both thrown the ball. Like, there's like 3 attempts difference in their completions or in their attempts, and then there's like maybe 8 completion different. I mean, they're the same guy from a number standpoint. The difference is Georgia knows what their identity is. They run the football and they play action pass you, and they hit plays at perfect times, and they do it when they dial the play up, they execute it. That's the difference. And so you look up, and they're up 21-7, and they've run, and hit a play action pass, whatever, and got down in the red zone and able to finish the drive. Auburn, there's no rhyme or reason for why they call the plays they play. They call. It doesn't make any sense. So we talked about it all week on the podcast. We all have talked about it, and we dove into it. It's like Auburn's trying to have a quota of they got to get this many passes to this guy, or they got to get this many touches, or we got to do this. There's no, we're running these plays to set up plays down the line. It's just a big hodgepodge of nobody knows. That's what it looks like. So it's crazy. I don't know. Oh, we got 30 seconds. Freeze. It's when Hugh Freeze told Durkin to call off the dogs during fall camp. We should have known something was wrong with the offense. No doubt. All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. 45 minutes left in the show today, and we're diving into college football. Some big games on slate today. This morning, Alabama, Missouri gets started here in just a few hours at 11 o'clock. Alabama is a 3.5-point favorite in this game now. Missouri, number 14 in the country. And look, I'll start with Eli Drinkwitz. Eli Drinkwitz has Missouri at 5-0 again. This has been Eli Drinkwitz since he got to Missouri. And you look at the landscape of the SEC and the recruiting and all the things that go in, and you go, what's a job that's going to be really tough to be successful in that conference? Missouri's going to be one that's right at the top. Because if you look at facilities and you look at tradition and you look at competition, you go, man, Missouri's already behind the 8 ball. Maybe you look at Arkansas now and say the same from a location standpoint. And then you look over in Mississippi and you look at Mississippi State and you go, well, there would be one. I'm just listing like 5 programs you would think would be a tough job to be successful. Eli Drinkwitz goes, ain't no problem up here. Man, we're fine. He's getting – way more out of less. I'll just put it that way. Now, he's got some good players, but if you wanted to break down the rosters, Randy, and it's what we do a lot of times, Missouri's roster probably wouldn't rank in the top 12 of this conference. I may be wrong. But it probably – I would give them the benefit of that. Let's just say 10 out of 16. they get way better than 10 out of 16 results.
They do every year. It's just better coaching.
That's
It's
all
a
it
more
is.
consistent culture. It's all of the above. And you've pulled those numbers up because I've prodded you on it before. That Auburn, yes, should we beat half of the teams in the conference consistently? Yes. If you're just going straight off of talent.
Sure.
And then there's another half of the conference that's going to have better Bows and Joes on average than us.
Right.
But you got to coach them up, and that's probably been the norm at Auburn, even when we've had great runs of talent and a program that consistently wins. We still have got to coach them up at Auburn in comparison to a few other programs in the SEC. But Missouri does it. Missouri develops, and there's no excuse like the point that you just made. Don't get me wrong, they've got some talent. Well, hell, I mean, they're in the SEC. They're in the day of the transfer portal. There's not like there's no money going around when you've got SEC money exchanging hands. I mean, there's enough money going around that you can go out and get a few guys. But I bet it's 10 to 12, Brett, and I would lean more on 12.
Yeah,
as far as a talent basis, but
they're number 4.
No problem for them, man. And they win ugly games. You go back to last year. I mean, they beat Auburn and they're down. Their quarterback's almost out. I mean,
the quarterback
found a way to beat us.
Hospital, man.
I know
he didn't play for 2.5 quarters.
It's frustrating. So look, we've got plenty of Auburn time to talk here in the next couple of segments, but this lines up to be a good game. I would say. Let me get your thoughts on that and everybody that's tuning in. An 11 o'clock game on the road, wouldn't you consider that to be a good time to play? I would think that I think this benefits Alabama.
No, it absolutely benefits the road team.
Yeah, I think so too.
On a early game like this, if you're Alabama, I mean, look, we've all been to 11 o'clock games. We know. Look, we struggle walking in the stadium. And we ain't got to get up and get prepared to play a football game and got to get our minds right. And fans just aren't in it, at 11 o'clock like they would be at a 6:30 or 7. That's just the bottom line. And so for a home team to have an 11 o'clock game, I'm not going to say it's a disadvantage, but you definitely not utilizing the home field advantage to its fullest when you have an 11 o'clock kickoff. But Alabama's kind of been, I know they're 4-1. That Florida State game just still kind of hangs out there. They won a close game against Georgia. I still think there's some things to prove for Alabama. There's still some questions. I mean, let's be honest, Vanderbilt kind of shot themselves in the foot a couple of times last week inside the red zone, or that game could have been a different game probably. So you're looking at Alabama's been in 3 really close football games. They've won 2 of them, and they've lost 1 of them. So this is not some overbearing Alabama football team. Now, they got, Jam Miller back, and I definitely think that's helped their offense for sure. And Ty Simpson's been pretty dang good to this point.
He sure has, yes.
But, again, they're not running away from people, okay?
Well, it's not the Nick Saban era, but – it's a really solid team that seems to be getting better week in and week out. And when you have a question mark, they come out the next week and they say, well, okay, well, I hear you. Like, now we can't run the ball north and south and gain yards when we need to. And then Jam Miller goes for 130 in a big game. So I like it. They're getting better, and they've got top tier talent. And is it going to be a train wreck? I don't see it. I'm here cheering for a train wreck, and I don't think it's going to happen. And Ty Simpson's a top 3 quarterback in the conference, and Alabama does a better job of developing quarterbacks than we do. Am I glad to say that? Hell no, not happy about it at all. But it's the truth. And Ty Simpson right now, if all things stayed the same, I was watching a little NFL draft talk this past week, and if he plays out the rest of this season the way he's played the first part, could be a first-round pick in the NFL. And none of us thought that going into the season, but they get it and we don't. And until we can reverse that and say, man, we're developing them up and they're not, then we're going to keep getting the product that we get out there on the field, Brett. So, yeah, but Alabama could lose the game on the road at Missouri. Hell, we all could. That's a different program than it was a decade ago.
Yeah, even a decade ago, I mean, Missouri's been to a couple of SEC championship
They
games.
did, yep.
And Texas A&M ain't never been. That was kind of my argument with some people. The other day, you had some A&M fans jumping on, and they were like, well, y'all just go ahead and take your L, and if you want to keep talking about us. I'm like, well, look, buddy, congratulations. Yeah, y'all beat us, but what have you won? Like, Missouri came into the conference the same time you did, and they've been to 2 SEC championship games, and you've been to none. And if you were comparing assets, it ain't comparable. If you want to compare rosters, it ain't comparable. Talk about a team. Look, you can get your feelings hurt all you want to, A&M fans. You've done way less with more opportunities than anybody in this conference. You probably have been, from a money standpoint, the most disappointing program in the country. I don't think anybody can argue with that. So maybe they get over the hump this year. They're having a good season. They're ranked, but same thing kind of tells me that they'll find a way to screw it up again. So Missouri, I think our point is, before we go to this break, has done way more with less. And they're a program that if you were looking on paper, you would go, well, that team doesn't have a chance year in and year out in this conference, but they do. And it's because of their culture they've established. And obviously, Eli Drinkwitz is a hell of a coach, and he's done a really good job up there. So sometimes you just have to tip your hat, and that's what's going on in Missouri. All right, that game kicks off at 11 here in a few hours. We'll talk some more about that and a lot of other things. Got Auburn, Georgia coming up, so we'll talk about that as well. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this. All right. Let's look around. Got Oklahoma, Texas at 2:30 today. Arkansas at Tennessee. That's a train wreck. Florida at A&M. Like, okay, here's my point. Florida goes to A&M tonight after coming up, and then Florida plays better, obviously, at home. They do on the road, but we'll see. Can Texas A&M? Marcel Reed struggles from time to time. From half to half sometimes, maybe not necessarily game to game, but half to half. So we'll see kind of how it plays out. But that's an interesting one to watch. Texas A&M's a 7.5-point favorite in that game. South Carolina goes to LSU tonight. I mean, that's interesting. Nussmeier's out, isn't he, for the season? He's out. So, I mean, I don't know how that's going to play out. South Carolina, you don't know what you're going to get from week to week with them. So we'll see.
What's been the talk around Auburn, Brett? You've had 10 people on the show with you. I mean, is there any different feel at all? Is there anything I need to know that should give me reason to believe that we're going to change the 20-year
no, I mean, just
nightmare that we've had with them?
I mean, not really. I mean, there's not like anybody saw anything that's, just, oh, that's going to definitely get us over the hump. I mean, at some point in time, you just got to go win a football game, and you got to show that you can. And the roster is there. I mean, I said this yesterday. Nothing has changed from preseason talk to now. The roster hadn't changed anything. The only thing that's changed is Auburn's got 2 losses on the road, close losses, and a lot of it had to do with the way they played, not the way the other team played. Okay, so whatever you're doing, you're not getting the production out of your players. And so all of that potential's still there. And like we discussed, I don't know how the outcome's going to be today, but if you beat Georgia, we all kind of felt like if Auburn could be 1-2 in this stretch anyway. So you're really not behind but you just didn't think maybe Georgia would be the win and you'd lose both on the road. But at some point in time, you got to win the game. You got to turn the page. Like, the environment will be there, everything will be there, but the results got to happen at some point. So I think I'll talk about it. What I said on Gary's show yesterday.
DeBoer wanted to start Ty last year, and the team said they would lose him if they didn't start Milroe. So, I mean, that has been a lot of the talk on the backside with Alabama, is that Ty Simpson has always had this potential. But you just never know it, Brett, when someone sits over there 3 years.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR's Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. 30 minutes left on the show. Today, again, Alabama and Missouri will be up first here in a couple of hours. They get kicked off at 11 o'clock, and that'll be an interesting game to watch. Obviously, we'll get to talk about Auburn and Georgia here in just a minute, but some other games on slate today. South Carolina at LSU tonight at 6:45. That should be a very interesting game because Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier out for that. So can South Carolina kind of swing things back in their direction? They've kind of had a little bit of a disappointment here the last few weeks, but they go to LSU. LSU's a 9.5-point favorite. It's always tough to play at night in Death Valley, so we'll see. Florida goes to Texas A&M. Florida got that big win over Texas. We'll find out some more about Texas as they take on Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. Texas is a 1.5-point favorite in that game, and Oklahoma is ranked 6th, and Texas ain't ranked. But I know that Oklahoma don't have their quarterback, so obviously that's a big deal. And so John Mateer out for that game. So we'll see how it plays out. Who's Oklahoma going to slide in there? Obviously going to play the kid that played against Auburn last year that could not sustain the job after Jackson Arnold was kind of shown the bench. And then Jackson Arnold comes back in and finishes the season and obviously gets that win over Alabama. But we'll see. Obviously, Vegas knows something. They got Texas a 1.5-point favorite.
Until Arch Manning shows that he's making a move to being a top-tier SEC quarterback, I don't think under Sark you're going to see greatness out of Texas. They need dynamic offense. I think they got all the other pieces, Brett, but
Sark's record against top-ranked teams too. I mean, I'm going to be honest about it. They were pulling up coaches, and he kind of flies under the radar. People give him the benefit of the doubt, but he does not have the best record against top-ranked teams. He don't.
Well, my eyes tell me Oklahoma's not one. Now, if they play as well as they do off the edge, as they did against Auburn, and can get to Arch and bother him, it's going to be an ugly game for Texas. And that's got to be the game plan, and I know it is for Oklahoma. And we'll know if they're really good defensively today, because I don't think Texas is that good offensively. But if Texas finds a way to move the football against Oklahoma, it's going to be a multi-loss season for Oklahoma, because Auburn – if we don't shoot both feet off, we win that football game. I think we were the better team that day. We
were the better team, and I know there were some breaks that didn't go our way, and it counts, man. That the officials for that particular game, it was bad. I mean, it was bad, and it's unfortunate. Arkansas at Tennessee, a program without Sam Pittman now. Tennessee 4-1. Number 12 in the country. So Tennessee a 9.5-point favorite. I think Tennessee handles business pretty easily.
I would think they would, but
you
just never know what you're going to get when you get the associate head coach roll over to the head coach position and know that he's trying to prove
head coach rolling over.
Trying to prove to everyone that he still deserves the job and gets it back and wants to retain it. So you're going to get I would say you're going to get a different Arkansas team the rest of the year from just from a production standpoint. I would bet offensively than what you've seen so far. And I know that's wild to say because it's not like there's a different person calling the games, but there's just a different motivation out there for this team to play better and to prove that he should be the one to keep the job.
What a cyclical soap opera that's been.
Yeah.
With Bobby Petrino. I mean, he left this program in the middle of the night with a note, if you'll remember, to go to the Falcons. And everybody's like, just like, and then the motorcycle thing and then he's back. It's like he's back as the guy. It's just wild. I mean, he's one of those guys that it just seems like there's always something odd. You were talking about Russ Probst earlier. Great coach. But you can bank on it. Wherever he shows up, They bring a camera crew. It's not a coincidence that MTV's there and Netflix is there and they're doing something. And he knows how to play the part. Let me just go ahead and say he adds to it. There's a reason they come do it, because it's must-watch TV. Well, Bobby Petrino's that guy on the college level. You know, he net brace and the Sugar Bowl hat and, you know, all this stuff up there. And you know, like, yeah, I had a motorcycle wreck. No, you didn't. No, somebody beat the hell out of you, and you're trying to act like you slid the motorcycle down on the side of the road. And then the way he's handled himself, he was involved in the stuff here with Auburn, with Jetgate, you know, the Falcons, and then Louisville, and it's just wild. It's just a bizarre deal. But hey, look, Arkansas is like, hey, we'll take him. Hey, you know, maybe he can turn the program back around like he did the last time. All right, Washington State at Ole Miss. Nobody cares, really. And then, of course, the Alabama-Missouri game that we talked about. We're going to go ahead and take a break here on the show. We come back, it'll be Auburn-Georgia talk. We'll kind of give our thoughts on that and get you set for this slate of games on Saturday. Stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this. Going on around the country. Michigan and Southern Cal today at 6:30. Texas Tech really as good as they are?
I haven't watched them 1 second. Have you?
They're 5-0 and number 9 in the country.
Not for a second.
I hadn't seen a play. Not one play. Iowa State at Colorado. You talk about a project that this thing that is terrible. That is that's a terrible deal all the way around. Virginia Tech at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is 5-0 and number 13 in the country. That's kind of wild. Indiana goes to Oregon at 2:30 today. That's a 7 versus a number 3. Big Ten matchup, right? These conferences are so screwed. I mean, my gosh. Oregon, Big Ten. This makes no sense. Pitt goes to Florida State, both 3-2. I don't know. Florida State seems like they're finding a way to be Florida State again.
Sound like us.
Yep. Can't sustain success. That's about it. NC State at Notre Dame. That's your top 12 matchups. I mean, top 25 matchups.
Close out with Auburn, Georgia for 2 segments.
Ohio State at Illinois. I mean,
Illinois is better.
5-1.
Yep.
Number 17. But Ohio State's a 15.5-point favorite.
There's college football.
That's it.
That's the discrepancy in talent of those 2 teams.
No doubt. Cubs Brewers for anybody that's a baseball fan tonight in the middle of college football.
And a lot of Cubbies fans around here, Brett.
That series is tied at 2 apiece.
Yep.
Our buddy got a lot of Cubs fans, no doubt.
Yep. WGN.
Oh yeah, grew up watching them.
I was an 80s Cubs fan. Of course, I was a Braves fan too, but I was cheering for the Cubs.
Oh yeah. It was on after you got home from school every day.
Best broadcaster ever for baseball, in my opinion. Look, I like personalities over calls. Yeah. Some of y'all might like Vin Scully and some others.
Here we go. Okay. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. A couple more segments here. I was just being funny, but not being funny for all you baseball fans out there. Amongst all the college football games going on tonight at 7 o'clock, you'll have the Cubs and Brewers to see who moves on to take on the Dodgers. So we'll see how that plays out.
A lot of eyeballs will be on that, Brett. It'll take away from a lot of these, including ours. The Auburn and Georgia game, from the numbers standpoint, is going to be not quite what it would be, but great night for sports all the way around.
Good friend Bo Starkey's hoping the Brewers can pull this one out.
He's a Brewers guy. I think more than most, though, in our area, we're all Cubbies fans. We're all Harry Carey fans, so that brought us to the Cubs back in the 80s.
I'll tell you who's playing the best baseball right now is the Toronto Blue Jays.
I watched.
They are steamrolling right now. Their bats are ridiculous, and I kind of just foresee whoever wins. I know Seattle won last night, and 3-2 in 15 innings, by the way, over the Tigers. They will take on the Blue Jays there in the American League Championship Series. But I like the Blue Jays to make the World Series, and we'll see how it all plays out. We got to see who wins tonight. All right, Georgia and Auburn. Let's talk about that. This game, again, when you look at a point spread, it kind of makes you stop a little bit. This game was 2.5, then it was 3.5, then it was back to 2.5. It's 4.5 now, Georgia. But still, man, that's a tight point spread. And night game at Jordan-Hare definitely plays into it. We'll see kind of how it plays out. This is not the Georgia teams that we've seen over the last 4 or 5 years. They're obviously still very talented. They don't have near the defensive front names up there like Carter and some of those guys that we've seen in the past. They don't get a lot of pass rush outside of their linebackers. They are susceptible in the back end on the passing game. And Gunnar Stockton is kind of a pedestrian quarterback. I mean, not to cut him. I mean, obviously he's a very solid guy, but Georgia plays an old school brand of football. They like to run the football. They like to control the line of scrimmage. They like to get you to add people to the box. And then they like to hit you with a misdirection or a play action pass, or they take their shots. They're calculated. You know it's coming. It's just you don't know when it's coming, and you got to be prepared for it.
Well, let's start with number one. What does Auburn have to do to stay in this football game? That's stop the run. I don't have a good feel for whether Auburn will turn the corner offensively tonight. So if you want to be sure that you stay in the football game, Auburn's got to stop the run. And, I watched, I think, every play of that Alabama and Georgia game, and that was the most impressive part of that Alabama-Georgia game. One, those two teams defensively played the game the right way physically in that one. When we were watching, Brett, and on our normal text threads, that was something that kind of took you back to maybe 12, 15 years ago football.
Right.
With Alabama and LSU and Alabama and Georgia playing some big-time games before Lane Kiffin goes to Alabama. You've got the short toss sweeps right, short toss sweep left, downhill running game. Who's the most physical up front? That's what you got in that Alabama and Georgia game from Georgia's standpoint, running the football. So can Auburn step up and play well defensively? There's no reason to think that we can't. I mean,
we have every week.
DJ Durkin has put a good product out there on the field and has been able to play physical enough on the front to keep us in games. And it used to be that it was a big point differential having Auburn at home. I don't care if it was at night, midday, whenever it was, you come to Auburn, it was going to be a tough place to play. And I think it'll be amped up tonight. I'm looking forward to being there, but man, I hope we play better than we have for quite some time. And I think that's my biggest concern, Brett, is I have no idea what we're going to try to do offensively. I have no feel for what our identity is.
You've had 2 weeks to get ready for this game. And generally, when you come off a bye week and then you prepare, you see a lot of teams, they're able to come out and make adjustments, and you can see a difference in what they've done. They've been able to go in there and break down what they haven't done well, and they've been able to go in there and supplement, fix whatever it is that they haven't been doing well. We'll see if that happens tonight. Again, that's the first thing that Freeze told me in the post-game press conference at Texas A&M when I asked him about not converting third downs or whatever, and he said, "Well, thank God we've got 2 weeks to prepare for Georgia and get this fixed." I have that in my mind. That stood out to me when I left that press conference room, and so I don't know what I'm going to see in the press conference room tonight, but I've got that in my mind, and I'm just telling everybody that's watching. If it doesn't work out well for Auburn tonight, I'm going to say, well, Coach, you told me at Texas A&M you had 2 weeks to get ready for this. And if it's the same offensive performance that we see tonight that we saw 2 weeks ago, then I'm going to ask that question. You have my word. You know I will. And so I will ask that question, and I hope I'm not asking that question. I hope I don't have to ask that question. I hope Auburn's wins the game. I hope we get in there and you're just like, man, you made a lot of improvements. You said you were going to do that. Here's a positive. The highest graded true freshman safety in the country so far this season, according to PFF, is Eric Winters at a 74.9, has the highest grade of a true freshman safety in the country. He's played great football, man. I've seen it up close and personal. The game, he's really playing good, man. I don't really know how else to describe it.
Well, got a great build, great athleticism, knew that coming in. You just don't know how quick that's going to transition to SEC play, but looks the part. And we've done a really good job under DJ Durkin of finding some young guys that we can slot into some places that were a question mark going into the season, and they've all performed, Brett. Back to Blockton last year, who I thought was one of the best defensive linemen we had by the end of the season. That was a great development there. We can keep going down the list. And
let me throw some numbers out for you for defense, since you've been talking about DJ Durkin. Here's Auburn against their opponents so far this year. Here, I'll give the average points that these teams score, and I'll give you what Auburn gave up. And we'll start with Baylor, one of the highest scoring offenses in the country. 36.3 points, Auburn gave up 24. Ball State, they averaged 16.4 points a game, Auburn gave up 3. South Alabama, they averaged 25 points a game, Auburn gave up 15. Oklahoma, 33.8 a game, gave up 24. Texas A&M, 34.8 points a game, Auburn gave up 16. That is a minus 12.3, 13.4, 10, 9.8, and an 18.8 difference. So the defense, hey, look, I don't know what Georgia, I don't have Georgia's scoring average in front of me, but I predicted the game to be 24-20. Everybody I've seen saying the same thing, is going to be a low-scoring game. You're just not going to run up the score. Like, the only thing, the difference is at what point in time will the defense stop playing when the record isn't good anymore? When the record is you don't have anything to play for, will that defense cave? Will they get tired of putting out that effort, knowing that they're not going to get any help from the offense? Right now, there's still a lot to play for going into this game tonight. And if Auburn can win the game and offense can help the defense to me will only get better and better as the year goes on. But if you lose tonight and it's another one of those, let's say 23-16 wins for Georgia, and Auburn's defense held Georgia to 23 points and had a chance to win that game, but offense couldn't muster up anything, it's going to get to a point where you go, man, I don't know what else we can do on our side.
Well, I don't see any quit. I don't see any quit from the coaching staff. A lot of young guys over there that it's not like you've got a bunch of juniors and seniors that should be overly concerned about or expecting that they're going to have nothing to look forward to. I mean, these young guys need to prove themselves too, Brett. And I see that. I see the play being
the mantra of teams when things have been taken away and there's not anything to play for anymore. All of a sudden, that extra oomph in the third quarter, in the fourth, when you just, we didn't quite make that play. I'm not going to quite run after that. I mean, I'm not saying they're quitting. I'm just saying things change when the outcomes change.
I mean, Brett, do you have, and I hate to go to specific stats on the game, but, you know, if Auburn does not run the football at least 20 times with their running backs, well, then I do think you're getting to a point where you can't even talk about it. Like, if you have the same
2 weeks now is going to run the ball. he said it going into Texas A&M, but in the off week, he said, well, I know we just got to stick with it. I got to quit being hard-headed. So, again, you're right. I mean, at some point in time, you just got to shut up and show it. If you don't do it today, I don't know. It's probably not going to be the best press conference. It's going to be some tough questions asked if Auburn loses this game because they put a poor offensive performance on the field again. I'm just going to be honest about it. I mean, there's guys. I'm around all those guys. Faith's around all those guys. I mean, she asked a tough question last week too, and he gave the same answer to her that he gave to me. I mean, it's like we went down the line and like we're doing what we're supposed to do. I know everybody out there texts me and go, well, you need to ask, and we are. We're asking the question. I can't answer the question for him. So that's kind of where it plays out.
Well, I start with, can we stop the run and can we run the football? And that sounds very basic, but that is Auburn football. And if
some type of identity,
you do, you've got to and stop. Go back to the Baylor game. The reason I was so excited about the Baylor game was it wasn't like we were sitting around worried that Cam Coleman didn't get his 9 or 10 touches.
It was exactly what everybody was ecstatic. I'm telling you, like, man, it was like, crap, dude. We're going to take what the defense gives us this year, and teams better watch out. And then at some point in time, it was like, oh, we got all these, man, we got to get all this stuff going. I go back to what I said earlier. And it's like a quota system. Like, we got to get this many touches or we got to do this many targets, and there's no rhyme or reason for the play calling. I got a stat. We got to take a break. Got a stat for everybody when we come back. It's kind of mind-blowing. All right, stay tuned. More of the Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
What's our record against Georgia in the last 20 years?
I think it's 3. I think we've won 3. Since 2006, we've won 3 games. And we've scored 40 points in all of those. 40 or more points in all of those. Now, the putrid part of it is when you look down and you see what the point totals have been
in the games we've lost.
Yeah, I mean, I've done this all week. I've read this list off all week. I mean, 6, 10, 10, 10, 13, 7, 13, 7, 0, 7, 24, 13. I mean, you're not beating anybody scoring 7 to 10 points. I mean, I don't care who you're playing. So, I mean, we scored 20 in 2023, had a really good chance to win that game, got beat 27 to 20. But there's been some putrid offensive performances by Georgia in those games. They've just been able to make one play more. They've beaten us 21 to 14. They've beaten us 27 to 20. They've beaten us 13 to 7. They've beaten us 20 to 13. I mean, there's a boatload of those dang games in there. Like, you go, well, shit, if you'd just done anything. I mean, you just had just mistakenly found the end zone, you probably would have won one of them. I mean, it's just, we can't win. We're bad every time, and they're bad sometimes. And their bad just ain't as bad as ours. And so, but then the 3 wins, I mean, you look at 10, you scored 49, 13, you scored 43, and 17, you scored 40. I mean, not saying in 40, you don't have to score 40 tonight. That's not going to happen. But you need to score 24. I mean, you don't need to score 7. You ain't going to beat somebody 7 to 3, man. This is not the daggum, 80s where everybody's trying to speed the game up and get to the fourth quarter and limit possessions. I mean, you're going to have to score some points.
So are we 3-17 in the last 20 meetings with them? Is that right? Because we played them we played them in the SEC championship game.
Correct. Yep.
We are 3-17 against them.
Yeah, that's it. Heck, you look down at it is what it is, and they lead the series by 8 now. So that tells you where we were in the series. I mean, they're going for 9 in a row today. So it's the longest streak in the history of the rivalry. For either team, if they get to 9. Nobody's ever won 9 in a row in this series. Auburn's won 7 before. They've won 8 before. They tied last year theirs. So, all right, we got 20 seconds. But I got another stat for y'all that I was given yesterday. Good Lord. I mean, go to bed. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. A couple minutes, a very short segment for TV. Before we go off, the first drive of every game should be one of your better drives, right? Because you script it and stuff. In last 10 SEC football games, Auburn has gone 6 of them. Auburn's gone 3 and out the first drive. I mean, what in the world, dude? I mean, like that to me. I mean, what did you do? Like, I know that if you're false starting or holding, that can kind of throw that back. But I mean, for the most part, you got a scripted drive. You should be coming out kind of firing all cylinders. And Auburn, 60% of the times going 3 and out on their first drive. That's just not good offense, man. Just not.
Whoever pulled that one out knows the stats to look for, because it is stats like that. It's like running game from the running backs. How many times over the last 15 years have we gone, why are we not using that guy more? Why are we not trying to win the line of scrimmage a little bit more, and instead of being soft with the passing game? It sounds like a constant talk, but back to your stat you and I were talking about during the break. I mean, this has gotten, and I want everybody to think where this Auburn and Georgia series was before the last 20 years popped up. But Auburn is 3-17 in the last 20 meetings against Georgia.
Yep.
And Georgia's got a 9-game. Got an
8 or 9 game advantage right now. Hold on, I'll pull it up. 65-56 with 8 ties, so a 9-game advantage. But look at the last 20 years. Auburn's won 3 times. It tells you where we were in this rivalry. And then they've got 8 in a row. So basically the difference in the rivalry is these last 8 years. I mean,
and they're going for 9 in a row today.
Going for 9 in a row, which is the longest streak in the series by either team. Auburn had a streak of 7 in a row, and Georgia's had a streak of 8 in a row before. And they currently have a 8-game streak going right now, and there'll be 9 if they win today. So, to get back in this rivalry, there's a lot of things that need to happen from a mentality standpoint for Auburn as a program. And tonight, a win would go a long way. Randy, all of a sudden you look up, you're 4-2 on the season. You're looking ahead. It's like, okay, everything looks different now. You're 0-3, and you're 3-3. We're right back in the same boat we've been the last 4 years.
Well, the big question all week long is it a must-win game for Hugh Freeze? And my answer is yes.
No, it's 100% yes on that answer.
Yes. I mean, and the way that we play, what my eyes tell me and what your eyes tell you at the end of this ball game, it's kind of like I could live through what the Oklahoma game was, because there's so many parts of that game that I can point back to and go, if that play goes our way or this. And so we're not happy to lose, but no one can say that about Texas A&M, Brett.
No,
you can't say that about Texas A&M. I mean, that game was only close because of a big defensive play and an interception return. Otherwise, we lose by 2 scores and I have 170 yards of offense. I mean, no way to spin that positive.
The A&M game was putrid. So, all right, we got to get out for TV. Again, we appreciate everybody watching this week. We'll be back with you next week for another edition of the Saturday Sports Countdown. We've enjoyed it. Well, yeah, see you next time.
Prediction tonight, Brett. What's your score?
I said 24-20 Auburn.
24-20 Auburn?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Okay. I'm not going to give mine, man.
So
I'm gonna leave that positive. I'll keep my thoughts.
Oh, you can tell everybody.
No. I mean, trust
me.
Can you
go back to bed? I'm sorry, everybody watching. I mean, good God. I mean, what is going on with this text thread? I mean, I'm trying to look up stuff and I can't put it on D&D because I got to keep it up so I can get some of these other texts. And this is just going to town, man. Go to bed. I mean, what?
I'm not giving mine. I don't have much confidence. I'll put it that way.
Well, you must have a blowout coming up.
No, I don't have a blowout. I just don't. there's no part of me that thinks we can get to 20. I don't have any confidence we can get to 20.
Get to 20. We'll see. I mean, it's something like I said. At some point in time, you got to turn the corner, and you neither turn the corner or you can't turn the corner. And if you can't turn the corner, then just let's move on in another direction. You know, I keep going in there, and that's what Faith and I talked about this week. She said, I just can't go in there again and sit there and listen to the same answer. I mean, it's like that's it. We've been fed the same answer. So after a week off, and you go in here and you got to hear something different, man. One way or the other. It's like, okay, I can't get it done, obviously. Or, man, see, I told y'all we're gonna get this thing flipped around. We'll see. It's a big game. That's all I'm.
All right, buddy.
All right.
See you. Right.
Yep.